Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
As always, recording out of beautiful downtown Salt Lake City, Utah. Welcome to another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. This is episode 62. My name is Chris Hollifield. Welcome to my show. If this is your first time listening, I invite you to check out all of the previous episodes. IamSaltLake.com is the best place where you can connect with those episodes. Got all of them. You can stream them right online, download them there. We're also on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, the Zune Network. We're everywhere that you need to get in touch with your favorite podcasts. Just search for I Am Salt Lake. You will find us there. The guest on this episode, Mark Dago. Really great guy. You might be familiar with him from Numbs, Rotten Musicians. He does some solo stuff, as well as writes for Big Shiny Robot. Let me give you a little bit of history about this guy. I grew up, well, I didn't grow up, but I spent many years living my late teen years down in Utah County, and I used to go to quite a few Numbs shows. So when I found out that I was going to bring Mark Dago on the show, it was a really exciting time in my life because, I always just thought he was a really great guy, and I enjoyed going to Numbs shows and having the opportunity to sit down and talk with him and just reminisce about 20 years ago going to Numbs shows. I mean, it was a really fun time, and the conversation that I had with him, was really neat, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I play a few solo tracks of his, as well as we end the show out playing a Numbs song, really great song that I enjoy. He suggested it, so hopefully you guys enjoy the show. Get in touch with me. 385-202-5926 is the voicemail. If you have any events that you want to promote, I know summer's right around the corner. If you have any events coming up this summer, call that voicemail lineup. I'd love to play it on a future episode of the show. Email is iamsaltlake@gmail.com. Drop me an email. If you have any interest to come on the show, I'd love to hear from you. And if you just want to say hello, I'd love to hear from you as well. Again, this is the I Am Salt Lake podcast. Thank you very much, everybody, for your support. This has been a fun journey to get to know the people of Salt Lake City, the people that are making the city tick, the people that are making the city, making it so I can say, you know what? I love living here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Let's jump into that conversation that I had with Mark Dago. Introduce yourself for people that, might not be familiar, and kind of all the projects. I guess you're probably involved with a ton of projects.
Yeah.
Kind of tell about what are some of the
everything I've done?
Or sure.
Discography.
Let's start. What do you got going on?
Yeah, hi. My name's Mark Dago. I'm with a group. My first group was called Numbs. We were a hip-hop collective from Utah County.
Yeah.
Which
I was a big fan of back in the day.
Thanks.
We'll get into that here shortly.
We all went to school down there. Like I was talking to you before, you're from California. I'm from New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
So moved from New Jersey to Provo, Utah.
Was a culture shock, I'm sure.
Yeah, and the thing is, there was no family here. My mom thought it'd be a good place to raise kids.
Yeah.
Did not LDS, so that wasn't the draw.
So you moved to Provo.
Mm-hmm.
At what time?
Oh, I was young. Yeah.
So in the 80s.
Yeah.
Even, and you weren't Mormon.
No.
Wow. Okay. Sorry.
And no, it's kind of a crazy story because my mom, there was the only connection is that my grandparents were out here. They had a job out here and they liked it. They just want to get out of the city.
Yeah.
But outside of them getting a job here, that's what brought us here. And I think after we got here, they ended up, my grandma quit her job. So there's really no reason for us to be in Provo.
Yeah.
Outside of just being there.
Okay.
And, I still have good ties with you. Like all my cousins and stuff are back east. So
what part of New Jersey? We're in New Jersey.
Orange by Newark.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like inner city.
Well, see, and I lived on the East Coast for about 5 years.
Where'd you live?
I lived in a town called Wilkes-Barre. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I moved out there. I moved out there. I was about 19. I was fed up with Utah at that time. I was just like, I got to get out of here. I moved out there, lived out there for about 5.5 years. Mm-hmm. And then found my way back to Utah.
It always happens.
It always happens to everybody that tries to move away.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of gets pulled back. So, I love the East Coast. So,
Yeah, no, it was cool. And it was weird because it's like whenever I'd get out of school here, we'd go back there for summer vacation.
Yeah.
So it'd be like 2 days after school got out until 2 days before school started again. I'd spend my summers in New Jersey. So it was, a good way to grow up. We like stayed down at the boardwalk, which was Seaside Heights, and now it's like Jersey Shore. So this was like pre-Jersey Shore, Seaside Heights. It was a good place to grow up and, spend summers and whatnot. But then I met all the Numbs guys because, at the time MTV Raps was on. And, like a friend of mine introduced me to Run DMC, Raising Hell, and that was it for me. Like once I heard that.
So that's what got you introduced to music.
Yeah, like after I heard that and...
What album was it?
Raising Hell.
Oh, great album.
Yeah, and that was it for me. I heard that and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then watching MTV Raps, met up with, I went to school. I went to Tim View.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and the other guys went to Provo High.
Provo High,
yeah. Cornell.
Timview was where all the rich kids were.
Yeah, I know. And we lived. So you went moved to Provo too?
To Provo.
Yeah, we're on 3rd South.
Okay. So I was up near the Provo Temple when I first moved.
So you're close to Timview then.
Timview area.
That's why 3rd South. Like why were we in the boundary? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
And Gunner's dad taught at Timview.
Okay.
He went to Gunner I think he went to both Provo and Timview. But anyway, I ended up meeting those guys through Ward basketball.
There you go.
Because we played Ward basketball even though we weren't in the Ward.
Yeah, well, everybody plays
It's
basketball.
the best thing, right?
I mean, there's a church on every corner. So.
Yeah. And so that's how I met those guys, was through that. And we would always, you remember University Mall back when it was kind of like dirty and weird. We would me and my friends would walk through the mall. And, we gravitated towards the whole MC Hammer, drop crotch, those pants, mustard, paisley, long sleeve shirts,
I'm
stuff like that.
I'm visualizing it and just laughing.
Well, and this is what's funny. Like we would walk through the mall like that, and then we would see like Gunner and Sean and all those guys, and they'd look like that, and we would look at each other like, "Gosh, those guys are so whack." But we're basically wearing all the same shit. Yeah. Oh, can I swear on this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so then once we got to know each other, we just started hanging out and. That was it. I mean, we'd go to do you remember the Palace at all?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
We'd go to the Palace and...
Was it Thursday night was the night, wasn't it?
I think there was... I don't know if it was Friday, but they had the Soul Room where they would play rap music.
Yeah.
And
is the Palace still even around? No, they shut that down years ago.
Not only that, I think it's like a telemarketing firm or something. So it's like, remember the dance floor with the like lights in it?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
They, I don't know if that's still there. That'd be funny if they left that in there with the telemarketing. But so we would go there and meet up with those guys and dance, Running Man.
You just do it all.
Get on the mic there. Write raps all week long in school. Go there and do raps. And
about how old were you?
High school.
Yeah, high school. Okay.
So it's like, and then as that progressed, after we got out of that, it's when we decided like, well, let's just make songs. It was like the next logical step. And then of course we're like, we want that. That was it. Let's just do songs. And then no one really thought, well, how do you do songs? Like there was no, let's just go to a studio. And so the first song that we cut was in the studio in Orem, and the guy ran on reels.
Really?
Yeah. And we went in there, and at this time it's like me, Rick, Cornell, Gunnar, Sean, and a friend of ours that we knew that we met through the Palace. His name was Colby.
Okay.
And he lived in Lehigh. He went to Lehigh High, but he would come down and dance. And then my friend Fish, who was up here, but those guys would all come down to Provo and dance. So we would all go into the studio and we're like, where's the beats? Like, we just assume it's some white dude who's probably in his 50s, like, make us a beat.
Yeah.
Like we want to do rap, make us a beat. And that's how we thought the procedure went. We had no idea.
And so who made was Rick? Rick made the beats.
Rick did for Rick and Colby did, and I think Rick, Colby, and Fish did the production for Metaphonic, which was the first album.
Great album, by the way.
Thanks,
great
man.
album.
It's so funny going back to that, listening to it now, because in your mind you know the time frame of where it's at, and just like the trial and error that went into that.
Yeah. I actually listened to the entirety just over this past weekend. I'm like, well, shoot, I'm gonna be talking to Mark. I gotta pull this out and listen to it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great album.
And so these first songs, though, we ended up using, I think, just instrumentals.
Yeah.
Just because we didn't have a beat. Like, we tried to make one. Like I don't even know what we were using in there. Then when we realized that didn't work, then all of a sudden we started studying up on like, okay, well, what are people who do hip hop music? Yeah. What are they using? Everyone kept going back to this instrument called an ASR-10, which is in sonic keyboard. It's gigantic, and you have to load in discs with it, floppy disks. Floppy disks, but they're the little small hard ones.
Okay. 3.5 inches or something like that.
And it would take, for like one beat and the sequencing of the beat, it would take, like 5 to 10 of those things that you'd have to load in the instruments from it. Yeah. And sometimes they would get corrupted. You would lose stuff. But yeah, all the stuff on Metaphonic was made on an ASR-10.
I mean, and that was over 20 years ago.
Yeah, we put that out in 94.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it was recorded between 94 and 96.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was us doing shows to get money to go up to a studio here in Salt Lake City. A guy named Josh Stippich.
Yeah.
And he ended up having ADATs, which are just like VHS kind of tapes. So we moved from reel to these other.
So you were listening to a lot of like Run DMC. Then what were some of the other groups you were listening?
Public Enemy.
That
was after Run DMC. I got into Public Enemy. Got into Boogie Down Productions, Big Daddy Kane, Poor Righteous Teachers, EPMD.
Sounds like we listened to a lot of the same music growing up.
Well, and
you know what I mean?
That's like I mean I still go, and no disrespect to today's rap.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But I mean, back then with the whole sampling, I think that it brings such a richness to the music. And there's just a feel to it. And that's what we were trying. I mean, those are the guys we wanted to be. Yeah. Like, that's the sound we wanted. We wanted to do that. Beastie Boys, Gangstar, Stetsasonic, people like that. So,
do you guys all still hang out? I mean, you guys still perform some shows and stuff,
we do every now and then. It's a little harder now because it's like everyone's kind of doing their thing. Gunnar and Cornell are still in Provo.
Yeah.
Rick's in Springville. And then me and Sean are up here in Salt Lake.
Springville. But Springville's changing a lot, though, too.
Yeah, and I think they built a house down there, so.
Yeah, it's quiet down there,
It's too quiet.
So, I mean, playing in Provo, especially 20 years ago, I mean, what was that like? I mean, I'm sure you dealt with a lot of hassles and.
Well, it's what was
hip hop show in Provo. Come on,
it was good because it's like a lot of the people that once we decided what we wanted to do at first, we're like, well, when we weren't really making the beats and that, we're like, well, maybe we should have a band.
Okay,
like a backing band. Because we're like, well, we can run off using other people's instrumentals, or we could just, make our own songs and either try and do them, which after the band idea, we ended up using like cassette tapes with our beats on them recorded from the ASR-10, high tech. And then, so the band was Chris Purdy, Justin Barlow, who both did a lot of groups down there. They were in a group called Rapture, a group called Insufficient Subculture.
The names are ringing a bell.
Yeah, I mean, they were like really big into the rock scene down there. And I met them through where I was working at the time. And then they also had a friend named Dave Payne, who was in a group called the Red Bennies.
Oh, great band.
So all three of those guys were our backing band. So we got together and we're like, well, let's just do shows. And since we knew them, they're like, well, you guys can play with us when we do shows. And we're like, perfect,
Yeah.
So a lot of the first shows before we got anything going down there was with a lot of rock bands, just because they would think it was kind of a kitschy thing to have a rap group come and play their gig. And so, we did that for a while. But then we really wanted our own identity. We didn't want to be, known the rap group with the band. We wanted to run off of, have two DJs and beats and maybe play live, have Gunnar play live bass because he can play the bass, stuff like that, stuff that we would want to go and see. So after that, that's when we kind of progressed and made it and put it on tape. Then we'd put it on CD, play the CD as a backing track of all the beats that we made and just have Rick and Sean cut over the top of it.
And there you go. So you progressed. You got a little better.
And the CDs were, and I mean, the tape almost was better because CDs, like, if you got too close to where they were playing and you hit too hard, it would skip the CD.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, like, nowadays, iPod, perfect. Doesn't skip. So
what's your craziest story? I mean, do you have any crazy stories? In Provo stories?
Oh man, there were a couple good ones. My 21st birthday, I remember we were down in Spanish Fork helping Dave Merkley, who was a big promoter down there, do some show. We were doing security of all things.
Yeah.
Yeah. and threw my birthday party at a skate park that was down. It was called the Lumberyard.
Oh, that was in Provo though.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw Face to Face there, and then Blink one. It was Blink before they were Blink 182.
Nice,
great show there.
Yeah, and so it was my 21st birthday. We built it and did flyers because we'd always fly up downtown, and like I didn't know how it was going to turn out, so we got there late.
Yeah,
and there were like 300 kids there. So It was just and it was great, and people riding their bike and skateboarding while we were playing. I mean, that was awesome. That was a good time. The other one that comes to mind is one time we were playing at the Rhapsody, and we're playing, and all of a sudden some dude, like the way the Rhapsody was set up is that it's like a straight long hallway, and there's a door in the front, door in the back. Some guy came running in through the back door, through the stage where we were playing, and into the crowd, taking off, and we're like, what's going on? And cops followed him through on the stage and went out the front door. So we're like rapping. We see these cops run off the stage, like on the stage that we're on, after this kid, and people thought we had planned that, and we didn't. And that was in Provo too.
Well, I'm sure the cops were. I mean, the cops hassled everybody.
It was just a funny, like, you're sitting there rapping, and there's cops on stage running after some kid. So those come to mind.
Yeah. So then progressing further, when did you start? Were you in any other groups before you started doing solo stuff then, or kind of what progressed to started doing some of your solo?
Well, we did Metaphonic in 96.
Yeah.
We did the episode 98, and then The Word came out in 2001, end of 2001, 2002.
Okay.
And that was our one that we had with a pseudo indie label. And that got to the point where we actually had Tommy Boy Records come out and watch the show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you thought you were going to make it big?
Well, everything seemed to go good from the meeting. It was like it was really positive. Everything was cool, but we never heard anything like what Guapo was talking to them, what they told Guapo or anything. And after that, Guapo did nothing with the record. And we put a lot of time into that one.
Yeah.
So then we were all like, well, what do we do now? We want to keep recording. But and at the time, my friend Fish, who was in Numbs, him and Colby, they were both in Numbs at the beginning. They ended up leaving to make a group called Furthermore, which ended up getting signed on Tooth and Nail out of Seattle. So Fish did 2 albums with them, and Colby had left Furthermore at the time, so it was just Fish. Uh-huh. And then he did that around 2002. We all got together again, and he asked me, he's like, let's record a song. So we ended up recording one song. He's like, well, why don't we just do an album, me and you and Sean, and we'll see what happens. And that's around 2002 is when we started doing the Rotten Musician stuff.
Okay.
And so that's me. At the time, it was me, Fish, him, and a guy named Mike Danner who played bass.
Okay. Do you play any instruments, by the way? Or no?
Horrible. Yeah, not good. Do you think by now...
Did you ever take music lessons or no?
Nothing. I just play with words.
Play with words. You're good with words.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, I have crazy respect for people that do that, specifically people that can just pick up like an instrument and play. Mm-hmm. To me, that's like amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, then we ended up doing that, and now we're 3 albums into Rotten Musician. We're going to start doing a new one here in like a month.
Okay.
And so me and Fish still do that. And then while that was going on, I'm like, well, I've always wanted to do a solo thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, why don't I just try it?
And you tried it,
and that's when I did the Cell 5.5, and that came out in 2010. That was the first one there.
The red one here, Cell 5. This is on Bandcamp, right? Yeah. I was listening to some of the tracks. Let's actually play a track from this really quick, so people listening can get a. What's one of your? I'm sure they're all your favorites, but what's a great?
Everyone seemed to like the one called "All Right."
All right,
with Lauren on it. She's really good. She's on Scott's album.
Yeah, Atheist. Yeah. Lauren Hoyt.
Yep.
I think, and then Bad Brad Wheeler as well. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, let's play that, and then we'll come back and talk some more.
Crying for your boo. Ladies and gentlemen, a day in the life. My skin a little too thin to deal in a world full of knives. I went from nowhere and nothing, and nobody when I arrived. The sinking heart feeling, where dreams and nightmares are alike. I don't wanna be complete, and I don't wanna be fixing another lonely soul. Looking for a way to just fit, a place where there's not much to look forward to. It exists. I don't know what it is that I want. I know this isn't it.
I swear there's something wrong. In the air, I hear a song. Sing along, you're gonna be alright. And when it feels so cold, there's a soup to warm my soul. And I'm told you're gonna be alright.
I'm mad at the world for nothing some of the time, but most of it I know what's wrong, though I can't identify. Some evolve at a purpose, some you're taking life on. A little heartbreak and self-destruction I rely on, and my baggage on the shoulders of someone who don't deserve it. Do I write too much from within when I really should observe the tipping point? At times I feel like I'm gonna lose it. I still decide about how the world is and my reaction to it.
I swear there's something wrong. In the air I hear a song. Sing along, you're gonna be alright. And when it feels so cold, there's a soup to warm my soul. And I know you're gonna be alright.
If my entire life story is wrong, how should I manage? It's one thing to say it, and another to understand it. I'll never make it to the happy ending. As I crash where the truth no longer hides from myself. What I imagine, where I'm free from the tragedy I made in the past. Why is it so hard to ask? Just show me the path, the feeling of life, being something worth living. No more waiting for this house of cards to come down and collapse.
I swear there's something wrong. In the air I hear a song. Sing along, you're gonna be alright. And when it feels so cold, there's a soup to warm my soul. And I'm told you're gonna be alright. I swear there's something wrong. We're gonna be alright. And when it feels so cold, there's a soup and it warms my soul. Alright.
So you started producing some of your or recording some of your own music.
Mm-hmm.
How many albums have you done solo?
Two.
Then just
Yeah,
these
and
two.
I'm working on my third one right now.
Excellent. And I mean, how has that been? I mean, it's what's probably versus
taken-
doing it as like say back to a group in a group setting versus a solo setting.
You would think it'd go quicker, but it's actually slow. I think I'm more picky with my own stuff than I am with the group stuff.
Is
So
it
it's like-
because you're the only one analyzing it?
I think so. And
Yeah.
it's so like lyrics for me take longer on my solo stuff than it does for my group stuff. I think I'll overthink it.
What inspires you to write? I mean, where do you get your inspiration from?
Just it's weird because it'll come in like flurries,
Yeah.
like where I'll be like, oh man, I got an idea for a song. Let me just knock that out. And other times it'll be 2 weeks where I'm trying to write.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't think of anything right now. A lot of the stuff, like I said, it's like within the Numbs music and the Runt musicians, I've always been geeky. So a lot of that stuff, video games, comic books, science fiction, books in general, I'm just inspired by a lot of stuff I read and see and stuff like that.
What kind of books do you read? Do you like all kinds of like geeky science?
Well, like I really like YA stuff, like Hunger Games and stuff like that.
Never read any. They're popular, but
yeah, not only that, it's just like that is. But like if we're talking old school, like Vonnegut was
okay.
That was it for me. Breakfast of Champions, Slaughterhouse-Five, those are like the best things ever. And then I noticed that you've got Chuck. He's
great author.
Yes, yeah. I've read all his stuff too. So
of course, excellent.
Yeah.
So speaking of geeky stuff, I mean, you got one of your tracks on the Full of Sith podcast.
I did.
Talk about that? How did that?
And it's so weird because it's like that song's not on anything.
Yeah.
It was just made. I just made it because my friend Brian Young,
yeah,
who's a guy
who's on Full of Sith.
Yeah, he is on Full of Sith,
which is another person I need to get on the podcast.
You should. He'd love to do this.
Yeah. He's offered, and again, there's so many people in Salt Lake to talk to, man.
That's what's good about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So me and Brian, and this started 2 years ago or three
Okay.
years ago, where we would meet up like a couple times a week and work on, because I've got 2 unfinished books that I've written.
Really? So you're an author too?
Well, but I've not put out anything.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And my first book is garbage.
Yeah.
Like, I've tried to reread it. It's so bad. But there's a thing that they do in November called NaNoWriMo, where you write a book in 30 days.
Okay.
So it's like 50,000 words in 30 days. And I've tried it for 3 years now, and I failed all 3 years. I can't get to 50,000. I'm so picky that I just can't write to write, because you should be writing about like 1,800 words a day to meet the goal.
What?
Yeah, and Brian finishes like every time.
Yeah.
And he's got like 3 books. I think he's got more than that now. So we would get together and write. And, he's Mr. Star Wars. I love Star Wars. So he was like, why don't you, like, this was going back even before Kill Screen. He's like, you should make a Star Wars song. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, you should. So then we did Kill Screen, and which is all like video game samples, like 8-bit shit. And he's like, well, I still think you should do it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should. So.
And this is before Full of Sith, obviously, was even thought up.
Yes.
Of. Okay.
So I ended up doing a song, and then me and Fish took Fish did the beat. He took Empire Strikes Back, like snippets from that, from the 8-bit, and made a track around it. So I showed Brian, and he liked it. And so they were putting the podcast together, and Brian's like, hey, can we use that song? I'm like, yeah, why not? That'd be awesome. So it's been history since then.
Yeah. I mean, but it's like perfect for...
I'm so glad they're using it, because
like the first time when I listened to the first episode of Full of Sith, I'm like, that was a perfect song. Then I found out it's Mark Dago. I was like, what? Have you gotten any? I mean, I'm sure you've gotten some response from that. Like,
people are always hitting me up about that song.
That podcast is like blowing up.
Yeah, and it's perfect time because all the new Star Wars stuff that's coming out. But so yeah, I'm glad they used it.
Yeah,
and I would definitely make more music. So
if they're listening now, you were talking about Brian Young.
Yeah,
you write for Big Shiny Robot.
I do
too.
I do a column every Tuesday.
You're a musician, or a hip hop artist.
Yeah, thank you.
And then you write. I mean, you keep yourself busy.
I try to.
And then you do a podcast, which I want to talk. I want to talk in a little bit about that, but. Talk about Big Shiny Robot. So you write a column once a week.
I do. And that was, again, Brian approached me. He's like, do you want to do it? Because it'll keep your writing skills up. You do, around 500 to 800 words a week. And I'm like, yeah, sure. No problem. And so that just every Tuesday now. And then when we go, we'll like do conventions for them, because you can get media passes. And so we've ended up going to PAX, which is like, I was totally stressed out today. Their tickets went on sale.
Oh, wow.
And their media credential process is incredibly tough. And every year I've got to go through like red tape like you don't believe to try and get media passes. So I always buy backup passes that I can just sell up there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's sold out within record time today. Like I was in a queue on the computer for 2.5 hours. Yeah, today, just trying to get backup passes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we go up there every August at Seattle. And what we've been doing is a tour along the way. So we figure we'll tour, do shows every night, do the convention, and then come back. So that's the way we've set it up. So
your column, is it a certain like subject matter or talk about? I mean, whatever
games,
you want to.
Video
write
games,
about.
books, comic book, music.
Just think for people that are listening that might not be familiar.
Big Shiny Robot?
Yeah, with Big Shiny Robot.
Well, their stuff is all geek related.
Yeah.
And so I try and fit that mold, but I have a specific thing. Like I'll just see it like a news item. What was my one this week? It was, I can't. It was just yesterday.
Yeah,
I can't even remember.
Which I'll put all the links on the show notes.
What did I do? It was about sci-fi trying to like get away from showing wrestling, and they're getting back into doing actual science fiction. And I saw a movie called Sharktopus. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't.
It's a piece of crap, but it's great. And so I was just defending it, like they should get back into making more stuff like that.
So did you go to school for writing?
No.
I mean, did you just like to write?
Yeah, it's just something I like to do. So it's like that was never.
What do you like about writing? I mean,
that it's just a great way to. I mean, it plays hand in hand with the music, right? It's just a great way to express yourself and get ideas out.
Yeah.
And I definitely, my goal, and Brian knows this, I want to put out books like he's doing, self-published, whatever. I just want to be able to look back, and I want it to make sense and be coherent and be a good story. So
what's stopping you from these books getting published? Just being
the first one sucked. The second one I tried to do in Nano and never went back to it. And that's the one I really want to get back to because I think it's a good idea. It's about the Denver airport, kind of. You know about that? There's all those weird conspiracies.
I don't.
Google that later on. You'll find it because I think it's fascinating. No one's written about it yet.
Briefly, I mean, you're leaving
There's
a lot of
just
people hanging now.
Have you been to the Denver airport?
I probably have.
Okay, the new one that's like out in the middle of nowhere.
There, you know,
it's out. They built it out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
and supposedly it is built over like something like 30 miles in width.
Okay.
And there are people that worked on it that said underneath it there are tons of caverns, and people claim that it's like some government like holding place for people. So when the Illuminati or shit goes down, that's where they're going to hold people. And I'm telling you, there, if you type it in, there's crazy people have been like killed building that airport. People that were like involved in the building end up coming missing. I mean, it's got a lot of like weird stuff around it that makes you question, well, what's going on over there? And so I thought it'd be cool to do kind of a Goonies type adventure with kids who find out that they're stuck in an airport that's not really an airport. And so that's why
and you said nobody's written about it yet.
Not as like, I don't think that they've used it as a fictional thing, but there's crazy books about, you know, the conspiracy. And I kind of like that stuff because I'm like, well, yeah, why is that going on out there? You know?
Yeah. Well, let's play another track from one of your favorite tracks from either one of your albums. And then I want to come back. I want to find out about this podcast that you're doing.
Cool.
And we'll talk about that. What song do you want to play?
Play something off Killscreen. The video game one, yeah.
Which one should we do? Here?
Do the
Magic Kingdom or no?
Oh yeah, well that one's got Lauren on it too. So if you want to do that one's cool, but do Skeleton Key's good.
Let's do Skeleton Key, and then we can even do Magic Kingdom or whatever song to go out on. But let's do Skeleton Key, and then we'll come back talk some more.
The path to death and resurrection, my grail to heal the vicious king, no question. My ring for the flame that burns without expression. Made myself into more than mere legend, composed by a mind, metaphysical arcane. A word that's whispered, never taken in vain. A living dream, a line, love within the pain. Turn-based role play, it's all one and the same. Strategic, soul caliber, concoction. Torn fabric, space time adopted. Enemies, interface, one of accomplished. Lost inspiration as the world was watching. A bullet to the head just confused the monster. The war intervened where beliefs get conquered. Footsteps of rush to lock off my karma. Fought in a name that plagues my honor. One key, many doors, one shut, many more. Open, blue sky, sunshine. Yeah, yeah. Follow your bliss, whatever it is, do it just like this. One key, many doors, one shut, many more. Open, blue sky, sunshine. Yeah, yeah. Follow your bliss, whatever it is, do it just like this. The ground running, blast march, shows a robot keep coming. Button mash, my chance, no chance and nothing. Nothing to lose, chrono trigger, keep gunning. Access the data of the wrongs within. The same place, same time where the story begins. The once future king still learns and lives. Ascension into the moment that is. Seize the soul, events have come to pass. A life of its own when I cross the path. The life frightens and it always has. The prize awaits within your grasp. A sense of clarity, rites of passage. Vital force, wake up the mind, nostalgic. Birth of a supernova. Imagine, alive and well, life real fantastic. One key, many doors, one shut, many more. Open, blue sky, sunshine. Yeah, yeah. Follow your bliss, whatever it is, do it just like this. One key, many doors, one shut, many more. Open, blue sky, sunshine. Yeah, yeah. Follow your bliss, whatever it is, do it just like this.
Provo actually has some cool tattoo shops.
They do.
Now. I mean, Provo's happening.
Yeah, that whole.
Do you get down to Provo much anymore?
You know, we just did a show at ABG's, Rock Musicians, last week.
Did you?
Yeah, and
see, and I'll have to follow. I'll have to come out to one of your guys' shows.
Provo, it's cool because it's like, you know, when Rhapsody was going and then Velour and all that, Corey Fox has always been the guy down there.
Yeah.
Keeping music going. And what he's kind of turned that into, you know, with everyone getting signed down there. Neon Trees, Joshua James is now doing things.
You can't forget The Used.
The Used, Fictionist. I mean, all these groups came through him.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we ran over. I went over to just say what up to him, and he claims that he's like, I bet you another 3 bands get signed out of here by the end of the year.
Out of Provo?
Yeah. It's just like its own indie scene now.
They
and all
have
these labels,
phenomenal music scene.
Yeah.
They really do, and it makes me wish I kind of still lived down there just to go check out all the music.
I'm not joking around. Like, I was like, where was this shit 10 years ago? I mean,
Yeah.
like, just the scene itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought it was a pretty good scene, but now it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, you got people like, we were just down there walking on the Center Street University. People are out on the street just performing now.
And we don't have
Like,
that in Salt Lake.
It's just bar.
I don't really see street
No, it's
music.
just bar bands up here, man.
Yeah.
And it's
we
like,
need some street musicians
yeah, no, at the Gateway.
at the Gateway. Is there street musicians at the Gateway? I don't go.
No, last time I went to the Gateway was like a year ago, and there was some guy just playing his guitar with his case open. But people were giving him money, so I was like, hey, good for you.
Yeah.
You know?
So this podcast that you do, talk about. I mean, how long you been doing this?
Okay,
for?
so
and I've never listened to it.
No, that's not bad because we're only like 4. We've been recording since like the second week of January.
Okay.
But we're only like 4 episodes in, and what we do is we record on Wednesday and we have it up by Tuesday. And I was spending. That's why I think. Did I hit you up? I hit someone up on Twitter.
It might have been. You were like talking.
I was
about
like,
how long
why does it take 6 hours to edit a 2-hour thing?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it shouldn't be taking that long.
Well, you learn.
Well, and I'm not the best at GarageBand.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what you're trying to edit out, I guess.
It's like breaths or too many like uhs or, you know. I think, again, I'm just being too picky. Like
I mean, I try to take out the ums and the is, just you know, but it's like sometimes that's just part of what it is.
Yeah, true.
You know, it's what you're
capturing the moment.
It's you and who
it's me and my friend Cody, and he was in a group down in Utah County called the Agents. So once Numbs got the rap scene going, there were other groups that were doing it at the same time, and that's what, you know, they were one of the groups, a group called the Agents. It was him, a guy named Jason, and a guy named Tyler.
Okay.
And I've always just stayed friends with him, and he's been bugging me for about a year now, like, let's do one. And I'm like, let's do it. No, and so we went through a list of names.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to use something that was already taken. We didn't want to, you know what I mean? And so we finally came up with the Pop Pundits because we thought, you know, we're just dissecting pop culture. I mean, we're huge movie guys, comic book guys, TV guys. It's like just stuff we're really into. So we thought we would just do that, break it down to like 5 segments, play devil's advocate, throw out ideas, and also interview people that we know, DJs and musicians.
And I'm sure you
around.
know a ton of cool people with all the years of doing what you're doing.
It's cool. I mean, it's like you said, Salt Lake is so like everyone knows someone.
Yeah.
Like it's like 6 degrees. Everyone knows someone that's doing something. And people here are pretty fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
So it's good to get them in and just kind of pick their brain. And then what I've noticed too is like doing this, it's like we've only interviewed 3 people or 2 people so far, but everyone's got like the same path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we're all like on different roads, but it all leads to the same place. So it's just weird to see that, and you're like, man, like it's just cool.
So what's the name of the podcast? Did you say
Pop Pundits? So it's at
Pundit.
poppundits.com.
I want to say
Someone's already
because you guys have a Facebook page, right?
Yeah, he built.
I think I liked it or something.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, cool, another podcast from Utah. You know what I mean? Like, this is awesome.
Well, the good thing is Cody, right when we got the name, started like getting all the social media stuff taken care of. So
are you on iTunes then?
Yeah.
Okay, so people listening can check it out on iTunes.
We went through the Libsyn route.
Okay. That's what I use, Libsyn.
Okay.
Libsyn.
Yeah.
Just because, again, I heard horror stories of people trying to host it on their own website and then their web hosts freak out and then take it all down or something like that, you know. Plus, I don't know, Libsyn just, you know, it's inexpensive and it seems
easy.
like it's super easy. It routes it through iTunes. You can see your stats. You can see where people are listening. That's what even blew me away with this is how many people outside of Utah listen to this.
Awesome.
So thank you, listeners. Washington, D.C. is my second highest listenership. Go figure, right?
That's so good.
You know, besides Salt Lake, obviously. So a lot of Salt Lake listeners, so thank you. No. So yeah, Libsyn's great. Podcasting's great. I mean, I'm sure it's opened up a lot of doors even for you in the short amount of time that you've done it.
We've had like, I think 4 episodes up, but it's just, you know, getting good feedback. And like you said, it's like checking the stats. Like even before we're promoting it, we're getting just tons of, and I'm like, who are these? Like, we haven't even promoted it. I don't know who's out there listening to it. You know what I mean? It's a cool thing to do. And we do it once a week. It's about an hour to 2 hour show. I told him we should keep it under an hour.
I think people get bored if it gets going too long. But again, that's the beauty of a podcast is You can put it on pause. You could stop it. You come back. You know, I think a lot of people that live in like bigger cities like LA or something, they have a much bigger commute. A lot of people in Salt Lake don't really have long commutes.
Yeah.
So I've always heard the average commute is about 40 minutes. So if you make a podcast about 40 to 60 minutes, that's the average commute. You know, just a little tidbit.
That's a good rule of thumb, man.
But
yeah, I'm good with like a weekly show being about 40, 45 minutes. So, and we just go back and forth and talk. I mean, for nothing else, I get to hang out with him and talk about geek shit once a week. So
yeah, and that's kind of, you know, I think that. I keep thinking I need to bring somebody on with me with this show, like, because I think it could make it fun like if I had a buddy or something do it with me. But part of me likes the solo part that I do with it. You know what I mean? It's a little more intimate, you know.
Very.
So I mean, where would you like to see the podcast go? I mean, or sky's the limit.
Yeah, I like I said, I like getting with him and just talking about geeky shit that's coming out because we're both big movie guys. We like comic books. We like tech. We like pop culture, like rap stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we can get on there and like dissect the XXL or the the freshman class list of MCs, who should be on there, who, you know, like when MTV does their top 10 lists of hottest MCs, who sucks, who's good, and it's all opinion. I mean, we all have opinions, but it's like, you know, we'll get on there and be like, oh, this guy's horrible, this guy's great, stuff like that. Just a bitch.
That's
bitch
what's
and moan
great
session.
about a podcast is free speech. I mean, you nobody's censoring you. You could speak your mind, and then you could build a listenership and a fan base around that. And it's I've had a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys continue with that. Let's talk a little bit. I always like to talk, you know, briefly with my people I'm talking to about Salt Lake City, kind of what they like about Salt Lake. Like, what do you like about Salt Lake, especially since you've lived here for as long as you've lived here?
Yeah.
What is some of your favorite things about Salt Lake City?
A couple of things. So you were just out in LA, and I've got family out there, and I went out there to do Disney and all that.
Yeah.
Traffic is that place is fucked, man.
I don't know how anybody gets anywhere in time.
Seriously, and I understand you've got the beach 10 minutes from where you're at. I get it.
Yeah.
Driving through that, like, I mean, it was like 10 at night and there's traffic.
Yeah.
So one thing about Salt Lake, even though we have a little bit of traffic, I'm totally cool with it. I love being able to get around the city super quick.
Yeah.
I don't have to plan, like, knowing I have to be somewhere, I have to plan like an hour and a half to previous, like, of drive time.
And then you still might be late for the
exactly.
event.
It drove me nuts. And I've been to LA a few times. Just this last time, I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand, you know? So that's one. I think I like the, accessibility to get anywhere in the valley, like super quick. And the people.
Well, even get down to Provo. I mean, it doesn't take that long.
No.
You know?
And like I said, even if you hit like rush hour traffic, that's not that bad. It's not that bad. But yeah, the people here are, I mean, of course you're going to get some weirdos everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Everyone who I've met here that's like-minded, like, I mean, what are the chances of me going to Provo, Utah, finding about 5 guys who are into the exact same shit I am, and then deciding to make a rap group based on a whim, and then doing it for 20 years, you know, and having like a blast. Like, it's totally, like, looking back on it, I'm like, how does it's so ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thought. A rap group in Provo.
Because you think people are just more friendly, so they're more apt to connect easier?
I don't know, man. I don't know what it is, but there is something special about, like, the people that you meet here and that the lifelong friends that you make. You know, it's just the people that I've done music with down there, I'm still friends with. I mean, it's like we'll see each other, and it's like, you know, you might not see each other for 6 months, but when you do, it's like you start up right where you left off.
Yeah.
And there's something good about that. That, and just like all the artists here, just everyone you meet, it's like, it's just a cool vibe.
It really is. There's a lot of people that are very creative here. There's a lot of, and they're very supportive of people that are doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I love all the local, how involved people here are with supporting local, you know, whether it's an artist, local music, local food, whatever, you know.
So I think the people and the accessibility getting around town.
Yeah, yeah.
And the snowboarding's good too.
You a big snowboarder?
I try to be.
You try to be?
Yeah.
That was always one thing that I wished I would have
so much
done.
fun.
I've done it a few times. It's expensive, you know.
Well, but you can go, if you go up on, and this is what I've been doing. You go on snowbird on like Tuesday, Friday, Saturday nights.
Yeah,
it's like $7 for like 3 hours.
Yeah, true.
And
I mean, I guess
nightboarding's
there's ways around.
It's kind of cold, but it's not bad.
Yeah, but then you got to get the board.
You can get them for. It's not that bad, man.
Nah, right.
I'm telling you. And not only that, we're spoiled because literally you could be at a snowbird in 30 minutes.
It is. Well, that's what's ridiculous is you got downtown.
Mm-hmm.
You can be in the mountains in 30 minutes. You can be in Vegas in 5-6 hours.
Yep.
I mean, Salt Lake is a great city. I mean, what do you think the biggest misconception of Salt Lake City
It's just everyone's closed-minded here. It's not true.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you get a lot of people. I mean, it's like that anywhere.
Yeah.
But just immediately, like anytime there's some weirdo story in the news that the national media picks up on, you just shrug your head. You're like, it's not all like that. And that's like, it's funny because whenever I see stuff like, and granted, there are some weird things.
Yeah.
Liquor laws, a little strange.
But you could still get drunk.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I mean, you could still buy beer.
There's always a way out of
still buy beer.
Yeah, there's always a loophole. I get that, but it's.
I mean, it would be nice.
And it's like I don't even booze that much. So it's like I don't need. I guess it everywhere on every corner, but I'm like
no, and I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't do a lot of drinking myself, but it is nice. It was rad to go down to California and be like, okay, wow, I'm just in a. It wasn't even a liquor store. It was just a store. But it was just full of liquor, and you got all the beers there too. Got some Fat Tire.
There's good breweries here too.
Oh well, yeah, Salt Lake City.
I still think Wasatch White Label's the best thing. I think that's the best thing I've ever had.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Anyways, anything else? What's in store for Mark Dago? What do you got coming up? What haven't we talked about? Everything, or I mean,
I'm gonna finish my album and have it out this year.
Okay.
The new one I'm working on. It's called Team Scanners.
Okay.
Like based on the movie Scanners,
okay.
kind of. So that'll be out this year. New Rotten Musician CD we're starting next month with Fish. We're trying to get that done by August. So when we go to Seattle, we have new songs to do.
Okay.
Gonna do NaNoWriMo again, I'm sure. Gonna try and finish my first book and actually get it out. And just keep writing for Big Shiny Robot and Pop Pundits every Wednesday and up on Tuesday. So just staying busy, man.
And I'll get all the links on the IamSaltLake.com website. It's BigShinyRobot.com. How then you have a Bandcamp page?
Yeah, it's Mark Dago.
Mark Dago
at Bandcamp, and then the Numbs stuffs too. So if you want to do Numbs at Bandcamp, and everything on the Numbs side, I think is up for free.
Yeah.
So we put it all up there, just the whole catalog that people can go and grab and enjoy it.
And then Rotten Tomatoes,
Rotten Musicians,
Rotten Tomatoes.
But hey, if you want to throw tomatoes at us at shows, we would love it.
I apologize.
No, it's
Musicians.
fine. RottenMusicians.bandcamp.
Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Excellent. And what about for you're on Twitter? Or can people get in touch
at Mark Dago.
At Mark Dago, so people can get in touch with you on Twitter, Facebook, or
I've got a fan page,
but you don't.
It's like Facebook. Mark Dago Raps.
Okay.
I do updates for shows and stuff.
Okay.
I'm kind of lax with it. I should be better at that. And then poppundits.com, the podcast. We're going to try and get that going hardcore this year. Hardcore.
Do it. I want to. I mean, there's a lot of podcasts here in Salt Lake that I'm discovering.
Cool. I mean, but besides you and obviously Geek Show,
yeah,
and people like that, it's like you hear all this, and I think we have a different angle.
Yeah,
and that's what I was asking. Well, I was asking everyone that is like, I want to set ourselves apart. I don't want it all to be because I think we all can gain from doing this. Whereas you have a different angle than the Geek Show guys and all that. And
do you listen to Geek Show a lot?
I do.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
Well, Vice and all those guys, Shannon, they're all funny dudes. So.
Yeah.
But and then you yourself, award winning. So that's why
like Mike Pilot from the media. I'm a award winning podcraftist or whatever he calls it. But what other podcasts you listen to? Just out of curiosity.
Full of Sith.
Full of Sith.
Yeah. Mark Maron,
WTF.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it from time, depending on his guest he has on there.
It's cool. Like sometimes I'll listen to it and then I'll get burnt out and I'll move on to other things. But Full of Sith, Geek Show. I've listened to yours.
Oh, yeah, well,
and
thank
you. more so local stuff than anything.
Yeah. I always just like to curious, what recommendations people have for podcasts.
I've done Nerdist. I used to listen. Writing Excuses is good.
Writing Excuses. I haven't listened to that one.
Dude, it's done by these 3 authors who are like live in Utah, but they're also got books like on like New York Times bestseller lists, and they just give writing tips.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's usually pretty good. So that's a good one too.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you sharing your story. I really, I was excited to sit down and talk. Like I said, I remember being, gosh, I don't know how old I was. I was a teenager myself, 16, 17, probably going to Numbs shows down in Utah County.
That's so awesome.
What song should we go out on? What
you want to play a Numbs one? You can grab it off the Bandcamp.
Yeah, let's
go back to the Word and play Numbs the Word.
Numbs the Word.
Yeah.
Great.
Take it back to 2002. 2002.
2002. when wow, those were the days.
Yeah,
Let me tell you,
a lot of fun.
I'd probably go back and change a few things. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not.
Like some minor things, so it doesn't screw up the whole timeline in the future.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Mark. And maybe down the road we'll bring you back on and maybe bring your other. Remind me his name from your podcast.
Oh, Cody.
Cody.
Yeah,
that's right.
from Pop Pundits.
Yeah, maybe get the both of you guys to sit down
it'd be
here
cool,
and
man.
talk,
Anytime.
It's the bebopping, mic hopping, lyrical lemma drop to keep the heads locking and popping. Never stopping to check the status in the world of who's this and who's that. Yo, everyone's the baddest, so low down dirty shame. What rappers gotten? Live on the radio, it stinks, it's rotten. Fond memories take me back to a time you do every group's lyrics, no matter the rhyme. Nowadays, so many dilute the quality of sound. At the same time, many on the underground could get down. Here's a crew that you may have never heard. The name's Numbs. The joint, that's the word. For you and yours, your cavalcade, your rap brigade. More quick to invade any venue or stage. 5 mics, any way you want it, we'll bring it live. With the tendency to excite your stimuli. We got what you like, quote this. Never upstate, but the frozen mic holding. Flash in the pan, metaphor show boating. And all that commotion you spit, it's just marketing and promotion. Taught in the press kit, not believing it for a second. That fake ass image you're projecting. I'm on with the 1-2 testing. I'm the word you haven't heard, then that's your yes man. The time is now, the people are hype. Let's rock the world with the word tonight. What's that word? Not the word. What's that word? Not the word. What's that word? Just say to get heard. Not the word. Not the word. The time is right, the people are hype. Let's rock the world with the word tonight. What's that word? Not the word. What's that word? Not the word. What's that word? Just say to get heard. Not the word. Not the word. Now, all I wanna do is get your head up, and I never let up. And the reason I'm in the back is cause I woke up. Ever since then I'll never rest cause I choke up. The best setup pulls from here to both of the coasts. So back up, now we're rocking the show. Your adrenaline is pumping like a mile a minute, rightfully so. From the get-go it's tactfully sewn. All together in a manner and a pattern, all in its own. Not just mere chattering, we're down to the bone. We don't dress up like a clown, we have skill to be shown. Get up so you can get down to the masterful sound of Numbs, innovative analyst, the man in the crown. Do you remember? Way back to rap before the money talk, guns back and Cadillac. Back when rap and hip-hop were hand in hand. There's a party over here with the 2-hand band. DJs on the wheels, rappers on the mic. In the crowd, keeping the party hype. So kitchen to club mode, we'll let it be heard from east coast to west. It's the boys and the bird. The time is now, the people are hype. Let's rock the world with the word tonight. What's that word? Not the word. What's that word? Not the word. What's that word? Just say to get heard. Not the word. Not the word. The time is right, the people are hype. Let's rock the world with the word tonight. What's that word? Not the word. What's that word? Not the word. What's that word? Just say to get heard. Not the word. Not the word. One, for the way I grab the mic and parlay. And then 2, for the love of the crew. We demonstrate truth. 3, for the love of the beat. I rap to 4, 5. I'ma do it for life. I have to. 6, 7 on a musical journey, so clap to. 89 different ways to grab the mic and get loose. You could say I had a musical youth, like Run DMC, rockin' my lot, the Chuck D and Guru. Just a few of the best I used to rock to, still do. Most of the shit I'm hearing nowadays is an abstract. The alpha to the omega, beginning of the end, forever. Numb massive, setting the trends. I've learned to rap, have done it again. Exactly what did you expect? In each area, city we rap.